Congratulations, you did it. 2020, done. And who'd have thought at the beginning of this year that we would have so many issues, so many troubles this year to contend with. But here we are at the back end of what has been a fascinating year for DeFi, a fascinating year for crypto, well, for the world in general. And of course, it comes to this point in the year and you start to look ahead to the year to come. And in my conversations with people around the block, something about 2021 just feels different, just feels special. As a kid, the most potent vision of the world to come would always be found in the movies, and in particular, Back to the Future 2. They had hoverboards, they had self-lacing shoes, they had flying cars. There's a lot of automation in that film, and what is clearly a VR headset.
First place. Thank you.
And they got a lot right and a lot wrong, but what's interesting in that future world, which was obviously seen as a long, long way off when they made it.
Where are we? When are we?
4:29 p.m. on Wednesday, October 21st, 2015.
Just for reference, Blade Runner is set in 2019. Wild. Next year being 2021 just sounds absurdly futuristic, and yet here we are. All of which just goes to show how futile it is making predictions about the future. But undoubtedly, your Twitter feed this Christmas will be awash with the great and the fervently decentralized doing exactly that. Now, like I said, everyone has been saying 2021 is the year. 2021 is the big one. This is what we've been waiting for. The pain of that long bear market will finally be banished. Now, I'm not very good at being your standard YouTuber, and I don't shout at you to smash that like button. I don't do digital merch. But today, I am doing a list. Yes, here are 5 things that I'm expecting to be talking about next year. So coming in at number 1, is hacks. No surprise there. But let's sort of rewind and have a look at the hacks that happened this year. There was the dForce lendf.me hack, 25 million. Harvest, 24 million. Eminence, 15 million. Maker, 8 million. And then there was the whole Sharktron thing, which was an exit scam. I don't quite know what that was. 8 million, 15 million, no one really knows. But the fact is, hacks, well, they've been big this year. There was barely any hacks in DeFi in 2019, but 2020, over 100 million. 100 million, that's a lot. And I don't think it's too far-fetched to imagine that there could be a $1 billion hack in 2021. Think about that for a moment. So I think the emphasis on audits, the emphasis on who's auditing you, and the emphasis on teams that are willing to not be anonymous, to say, yes, here I am, I'm accountable for what I'm doing, will become of increasing importance. Number 2 is NFTs. And in my case, I'm specifically talking about NFT art because it's something I actually understand. It's a space where I can make the jump from where I've come from in filmmaking to where we are now and see the opportunity. And I don't think it's, again, too far-fetched to see that an NFT in 2021 could sell, I'm talking about an individual single NFT here, could sell for $1 million. And even in the fine art world where you're seeing tens, hundreds of millions of dollars for a single artwork, like $1 million is still a big deal. That is a lot. So for a digital artwork, an NFT to sell for that much, that would be a big deal. But again, I don't think it's that far-fetched. In 2021, and again, you have to dig back into your history box and look at 2017 and how quickly things got out of control, how quickly things just spiraled or escalated or whatever you want to call it into a place where it was completely wild and it was overinflated. Will we see that again next year? Well, if Bitcoin goes past 20K and we get into this world of unknown territory, then yes, absolutely, 100%, it could be. But where I'm particularly interested in NFTs is that they are actually a very simple way for people to enter into crypto. If you look at Nifty Gateway, for instance, it's actually a lot easier to buy NFTs on Nifty Gateway with fiat than it is with crypto. And what's wonderful about that kind of mechanism, that model, is that it's basically saying, if you are on Instagram, you can be in crypto. Anything that's hot on Instagram at the moment, and if we look at Beeple and his 1.5 million followers on Instagram, then you have a place in crypto. And it's not like there's this big revolution where we say, take everything you did with Instagram and f you Facebook, we're just gonna go and do everything on crypto. No, this is basically a version of digital merch.
Buy that merch.
And if you're a YouTuber or someone who earns a living on one of those platforms,
Buy that merch.
the ability to create digital items that you can sell and you can earn a living off, alongside what might be your advertising revenue or your sponsorship deals, and that's a big deal. And I think NFTs really fit into that space alongside. And that brings me along to my third point, which I think we'll be talking about influencers a lot next year. And I don't mean crypto influencers.
This market's about to blow up.
Of which there are many, and I'm sure there will be many more next year. And I'm talking about influencers. And when I see someone like Beeple come into the space, when I see someone like Lil Michaela come into the space, dip a toe, and do it very successfully, you know that it's really just the tip of the spear in terms of a lot of entrepreneurial, risk-taking influencers coming on board and trying stuff, because they bring with them an audience. And they bring with them an audience that is outside of crypto, that doesn't play this game, that doesn't buy into our BS, that doesn't care about decentralization. They care about the creator. They care about the influencer. And slowly, over time, they will be exposed to decentralized ideas. They will start to feel that there is a broader world in which to get into, but this entry point, very safe and very comforting and very close, that's where influencers have all the power. And I think we will start to hear a lot more about those next year. Another thing that I think we're going to be talking about next year is hardware. Give me 1 second. I was supposed to have this on the table, but I didn't. This is an Oculus Quest. It's a VR headset. It's a very nice piece of kit. I don't love the color, to be honest. I think it's gonna get dirty really quickly, but, oh yeah, I'm clearly still playing a game on this. The thing about this is it's a VR headset that doesn't require a PC. And VR games, traditionally, you have a cable that's coming out the back of this, and then there's quite a few hoops you have to get through to get VR to work. But VR inherently is, well, let me give you my pitch on VR. VR is basically about to take off because of that. The Oculus Quest 2 has been designed and built and is owned by Facebook. And what they've done is they've put an incredibly complicated, advanced piece of technology into a pretty simple headset that you can take anywhere. I don't need my PC. If I want to play it downstairs, as long as I have a Wi-Fi connection, I can play it. The games are actually on the device, so really the only thing that I need is just enough floor space to play in. Now, I'm not saying this is the breakthrough moment for VR, whatever mark we're on now, but it does feel a lot like the launch of the iPhone. It feels like a watershed moment for VR. And because of that, and because of the ease of the platform, the ease of the UX, just feels like this is VR's moment. Now, obviously with worlds like Somnium, we have VR environments in which you can do crypto things and you can have crypto worlds and everything else. And that's beautiful because it plugs into a broader VR narrative. But this idea of having hardware, a physical thing that connects you to a different world, I think is really powerful. Now we see it with like a ledger hardware wallet connects you to crypto, but it's a physical thing that you can touch and feel. Again, with Beeple and his NFTs, you have his new Beeple Collect collection, which is a bunch of artwork that he's been making for the last 13 years. But there's a physical display device. And I've often talked about digital art needing to have a display mechanic. But here you have a physical thing that's connected to it. And I really love this because when I'm trying to make videos, I struggle constantly with the fact that so much of this is just, it's arcane, it's difficult to understand, and it's difficult to show visually. As a filmmaker, you want to be able to pick something up and show it. This actually if I look, this controls the focus of the camera. So if you see it on the table, it's because basically when I'm setting up a shot, I can't just be constantly going and tweaking the focus. So I have this thing, it's a wireless follow focus, they call it. And this is a beautiful physical object that does a very technological thing. We have none of that in crypto. There is no physical entry point like a PlayStation or an Oculus. But I think we're going to see a lot more hardware-based narratives next year. And I'm excited about it because I think VR is cool. It gets you up and active and busy and working, and it involves you in things. And in a world where social distancing has been the norm, having somebody just to play table tennis with and connect with is actually really powerful. And I just see VR being a big kind of pick up and go piece of technology next year that really opens up a lot of different conversations. How that intersects with crypto, I don't know, but we will be talking about it. And the final thing I'm going to be talking about next year is not a bull market, but a bear market. Because what I learned off the back of 2017 is that as amazing as things can be when they're really good, and the enthusiasm that comes with that, the incredible gains that there are to be had in the market, inevitably what follows is a massive bear market. The bear market this time was protracted, should we say. The one that follows will be even more protracted. And I think it's wise to look ahead and think about what you're going to do once the market turns against you, once the sentiment turns against you. So, in conclusion then, I'm going to leave you with a quote, which is this. Our world is strange and often fake and corrupt, but we think it's normal because we can't see anything else. And that is the description for a documentary called Hypernormalization, which is by Adam Curtis. It was on the BBC back in 2016. And it was the story of how we got to that point. And it argues that governments, financiers, and technological utopians have, since the 1970s, given up on the complex real world that we see outside our window and built a simpler fake world run by corporations and kept stable by politicians. And there was all sorts of different reasons for why that might be the case. But of course, the thing that we bump up against constantly is that the world refuses to play by the rules that we set for ourselves. It's constantly leaking everywhere. Corona, who saw that coming? And so I think what crypto does is it plays to both of those strengths. It's both completely chaotic, but also completely understandable and transparent. And it sort of embodies those tensions. But what we have to be super careful about is that we don't hyper-normalize things like hacks. It is not normal. It's not right to be hacked for $25 million. There should be more checks and balances in play. And so we, as users of these products, need to exercise more caution when using them. I don't know if anything I can make in terms of a video will help people just exercise that caution, because I understand if you've had a crappy year and you don't have any money, why rolling the dice and going in on something as risky as this makes sense. But hopefully in the years to come, it shouldn't have to. Having said all that, I'm really looking forward to 2021. If I look inside here, I don't see anything because these spectacles are useless. But I'm literally inside the most amazing thing right now, and I love it. VR has made me healthier. VR has made me more connected to the people that I consider friends. VR is opening up my eyes to different forms of storytelling. That is just my personal preference. But for next year, 2021, just be safe. Just stay safe out there and do the right thing and exercise caution, but also enjoy. Because by all accounts, by all prognostication, it's going to be one banger of a year.